Okay. I'm here with Zach, as well as being a student currently at the college, as I'm videoing this. Zach's an athlete. Zach trains with the local boxing club here, and you've been training for a number of years.
Yes.
You want to tell me what sort of stuff you do?
Well, we'll do a bit of skipping, bag work, and of course sparring with all the other guys there.
I mean, you're talking about skipping. Is skipping by time? Do they time it to see?
They'll have a clock which is timed for 3 minutes, and then there'll be a bell, and you've got 10 seconds where you've got to work very, very hard.
Yeah.
And then you get a minute break.
Yeah.
And it always follows that.
That sounds very specific training. Now, I know that some rounds are in boxing 3 minutes. Is that why it's to make it as realistic as possible?
Used to it.
So how hard is this? How long do they make you skip for?
Usually it'll be 6 rounds worth of skipping. If you're asking how hard it is,
how hard is it?
When it comes to like fight season,
yeah.
which is more in the summer,
yeah.
They'll usually have a very intense workout. Usually nowadays it's more easy.
Now the skipping, so that you can the way people box these days, we're moving around to get you to avoid getting hit and make yourself a difficult target rather than kind of bulking you out.
It gives you a bit of a spring in your step.
Yeah. Now you need upper body strength to throw punches. How do they work on that? Because that's not going to come from skipping.
Well, that'll be with bag work, and you also have some weights that you do the exercises with. Although it's not entirely about strength, you need to get good form, which is of course why they'll watch it when you're going around in the bags.
Right.
Make sure you get the punches.
And where are you aiming to hit when you're boxing? Where is it sore to be hit? Because you've got gloves on.
Well, anywhere from the face here or down. If you're going for the head, the best place is to hit just about on the chin, it makes it easier to knock someone out.
Now, there's not a lot of knockouts in boxing these days. Certainly not at anything other than the very highest weights.
Yeah.
Now, there's be the reasons for that. You're gloves and you've got some protection on, but we've got to decide who's won a bout. So, how do they score a boxing match?
Well, they'll score it on aggression, accuracy, and it's usually. I'm not perfect with the point system, but as I understand it can be variable, but they'll quite often have a 10-point system where each person is given 10 points each round.
Yes.
And if someone has not done as well as the other boxer, they'll be deducted from those 10.
From those 10, right.
I'm not perfectly sure.
Well, you yourself, you've been training with Steve Petrie, say down at the Railway Boxing Club. Mm-hmm. Now, Steve says that you're ready to start with some of your proper bouts.
Yes.
Now, how many rounds in the first of these fights that you're going to be doing? How many rounds?
A friend of mine has done one recently, and that was 4 2-minute rounds, I believe.
4 2-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm. So,
how do they find you opponents?
Well, they'll usually be championships, I suppose.
But what I mean is, you don't. When you watch boxing matches, you never see a little tiny guy fighting a big giant guy.
Yes, you will have to be within a certain weight limit. Yeah. So there'll be they have proper weight classes in.
And is it just weight classes, or do they measure your reach and things like that, or is that just?
I think that they'll do that more in the professional things. They try to keep it just the weight.
It's just weight, just weight. And you get weighed before a fight. Now, are you willing to tell me what weight are you? What weight will you be fighting at?
At the moment, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been weighed in a while.
Okay.
Probably because it's too close to the holidays and I would be embarrassed. But I'll be about 12 stone and 2.
And what does that make you? And when they call
that would make me too heavy, actually. It's just slightly over super middleweight, I believe.
Slightly over super middleweight.
I think.
Now, how many judges are there in a match? Do you know?
Usually there'll be three.
Three. So they're all scoring each round, and then how do they average the points, or they kind of come to some agreement? Do you know how that works?
Well, each judge is on his own. Will judge the thing. They'll
Right.
take the points up and they'll tally them up. And there's three, of course, so that you don't have a split decision.
Yes.
There will always be an exact decision.
Because there'll be a majority.
Yes.
No matter what, yeah. Because two will agree that one is one, yeah.
So,
How often do you do stuff other than the training you do with Steve down in the gym? I mean, do you go running? Do you go swimming?
probably not as often as I should. Nowadays I've got a lot of college stuff that I'll have to take care of, but I'll try and do at least once a week, get to the gym and do some extra strength work.
Right.
Or go jogging.
Yeah.
When I've got a lot of work to do, it's very difficult to keep all.
I'm doing that. Zach, are you a smoker?
I'm not a smoker.
Have you ever been a smoker?
No.
Do you know any boxers that are smokers?
Yes.
Do they feel it affects their? I mean, is it the sort of thing they try and cut down close to a fight?
Yes, it is. It's difficult to notice it because I'm not a professional level or very high, so you don't see those effects as readily. But the further you get up, the more you can.
It would make a. Okay. Well, the other thing I'm going to ask you about is diet. Now, you're saying that actually you're graded by a boxer, not in terms of height or arm length or anything, but in terms of your weight, and that will be important, I presume, then, that you stay within your weight category. So how difficult do you find that?
I think it's difficult a lot more. Or in honesty, I don't diet nearly as much as I should. So it's very difficult because the higher the weight you are, of course, the bigger the opponent you're going to be put up against.
Yes.
Since
if you look over what you're eating in a week, are you eating more protein than, say, your friends that are here at college?
A lot more protein.
So what forms that protein take? What sort of things? How are you getting your protein?
A lot of chicken.
A lot of chicken, yeah.
If I've done like a heavy weight session, that I'll usually do at the weekend, I'll get a protein drink.
You actually get a protein drink that's made up one of the health drinks. Mm-hmm. What about, do you look at the amount of cheese? Do you drink full fat milk, for instance, to try? Or?
I won't be quite that specific. I try not to be so specific. I'll always drink semi-skimmed.
Semi-skimmed, right. Okay, so the protein is the bit I believe helps make your muscles grow. Can you tell me about resting in between? Because I've heard other athletes talking about when they're trying to build strength and build bulk. It's different things. There's different kinds of strength. We were talking to a canoeist and saying there's different. Being able to pull a paddle at a certain speed requires different muscles than, for instance, being able to lift very, very heavy weights if you're kind of doing that the strongest man thing. Mm-hmm. So, do you find that over a week, there's periods where you've got to kind of vary what you're doing so that you don't tire out your muscles and then you can't train when you're down for your session?
Very often, yeah. I find if you've done a lot of heavy weights, I tend not to. You won't do that again. Basically.
For how long?
I try to play it by. You'll feel like a burn in your muscles after you've done a heavy weight session, and I'll try and wait until the pain's gone.
Okay.
And then do it again. Whereas stamina things, you can usually do it pretty soon after.
Okay, now the last thing I'm going to ask you about, Zach, this is the controversial stuff. But you were saying that you don't smoke, but at the higher and higher levels, people are trying to do everything to give themselves that wee edge. Exactly. So you definitely did give up smoking. They'd maybe have a dietitian looking at what they're eating. The training is being very carefully monitored so that they're not tiring out their muscles and stuff before a fight. Now the temptation is there because there are drugs available that will improve your performance. Have you ever been offered drugs?
No.
No. Are you aware of what kind of drugs that boxers take?
Yes.
You are. Would you be willing to talk to me about it in the camera about what that they would do for you as a boxer, but also what they do. The reason that we don't that we test for them and they're illegal. I mean, what are the advantages of taking steroids, for instance?
Well, of course you get vastly improved an ability to train and get more from your body.
So you can bulk
training.
up quicker.
Basically, yes.
And get your muscles. Now, what does that do to you? Why don't we all do this? You know, why is it a bad thing?
Because it can be very dangerous.
What sort of things can happen?
Well, death, for one.
Well, yeah, it's pretty serious. Yeah.
On the specifics, it would be difficult. I'm not fully versed.
Is that death by? Is it heart failure?
Yes. Yeah. You can get. It's difficult. It puts a strain on your body to circulate blood and just to keep the strength of your body.
Yes.
Takes an incredible amount of energy and strain. So it makes it difficult for your body to be able to do that.
I was talking to a guy who does weights, and he says at competitions he can spot straight away who's been taking steroids and he hasn't, because it actually changes the body shape so significantly to someone who's just doing weights and doing it the normal way. Now the big problem they worry about, he didn't mention death, but he says they call it roid rage. They get very aggressive sometimes in steroids. I'm thinking aggressive. When you're in the middle of a fight, how aggressive are you actually feeling? I mean, and how much is it tactics? I mean, what's going through your head?
It depends. There's a very good example actually. It's something that happened to me recently. It's the first time I'd been back to actually sparring in the ring.
Yeah.
For quite a while, and there's all the guys are usually bigger than me, and I'm kind of, feeling a little intimidated. And when I get into the ring, there's this big guy that I'm against, and he's kind of he's coming in, and I'm kind of not sure what to do. And eventually, I just snap, and I get scared, and I start coming in.
Yeah.
And I took that a little too far. Took it a little too serious, and the trainer afterwards said, "Calm down."
Calm
down. I think quite often people can get aggressive simply through fear.
Right. Yes.
It's just a natural defense.
So our natural Darwinian response to the fact that there's a big predator coming to bash you, and what are you going to do? How much who are the big boxers that you rate? Who do you look up to?
Well, currently.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 3 current.
All right.
And then give me 3 all-time greats.
All-time greats are much easier. I'd go for Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier, yeah.
Big opponent of Muhammad Ali. I think he's very underrated. There's so hard to choose.
Muhammad Ali famously said that the only boxer that ever hurt him, have you heard this?
Well, I might have.
Was Henry Cooper.
Very good boxer.
Would he be in your all-time great list?
He probably would.
Would Ali be in your all-time great list?
I'm struggling. I'm really trying to think, because Ali, I think, was a great boxer, but I think everyone always goes, "Oh, it's Ali." So I'm trying to think of someone who isn't.
No, don't, because this is non-boxing people watching this, most of them.
Alright, then
they'll be cool with that. Muhammad Ali.
I'll go for Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones Jr., who's still in boxing actually.
But
he's probably a bit past his best now.
Right.
He was a legend.
Zach.
And
oh no, go ahead. Sorry, I was going to stop the interview there. I thought you'd finished.
You can if you want.
No. I'd like you to talk a bit more about boxers. What about some of the current ones?
The current ones, one of my favourite is Manny Pacquiao, which you might have seen. He'll hopefully be fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Can you spell that so if anyone wants to actually Google him?
Being dyslexic, I could not.
Right.
I can look him up and I'll show you.
Yeah, but just tell us who it is.
He's a boxer who usually boxes at welterweight, I believe.
Right.
He beat Ricky Hatton. It was, I think, Hatton's last fight. In fact, he's probably one of the best out there, I'd say.
Yeah.
And hopefully next year we'll see his fight against Mayweather, and we'll see who really is the best.
Well, Zach, on behalf of everybody watching this, doing numeracy, wish you good luck with your boxing career.
Thank you.